All right, let's get started. We are about to go on an absolutely incredible journey. It's a story that kicks off 93 million miles from here with a star. And you know what? It ends right here, inside you. This is the story of energy, the amazing force that connects every single living thing on our planet.
You know, every move you make, every single thought you have, even the beat of your heart, it's all powered by a star. It's true. The sun is basically the ultimate engine for our world. But here's the big question. How does that ancient light actually transform into life itself?
So here's our roadmap. We're going to start with that initial spark of life inside a leaf. Then we'll zoom out to see the huge web of connections in an ecosystem. After that, we'll trace that very same energy all the way to our own bodies. And finally, we'll open up the scientist's notebook to see how they map this whole incredible flow.
Okay, so our story begins, believe it or not, inside something you probably see every single day. A leaf. Yeah, a single plant leaf. Inside this tiny green factory, there is a miracle happening, like right now as we speak.
And that miracle has a name: photosynthesis. This one process, this single idea, is the foundation for almost all life on Earth. It's how plants cook up their own food, and in doing so, they create the food and the very oxygen that so many other species, yep, including us, totally depend on to survive.
So how in the world does it work? Well, think of the chlorophyll inside a leaf like millions of tiny solar panels, just soaking up the sun's energy. At the same time, the roots are acting like straws, pulling up water from the ground. The leaves then literally breathe in carbon dioxide from the air. The plant takes all of this, uses the sun's energy, and makes a sugar called glucose. And the best part, as a little bonus, it releases the oxygen we all need to breathe. It's amazing.
So this glucose stuff, it's basically the plant's personal energy drink. It's the instant fuel it makes from sunlight, and it powers everything the plant does. It's the immediate reward for all that hard work of photosynthesis.
But what happens if a plant is really good at its job and makes more glucose than it needs right away? Does it waste it? No way. It stores it. It converts that extra sugar into something called starch. Think of it like the plant's own pantry, or a packed lunch it saves for later. So when you eat something like a potato, you are literally eating stored sunshine.
Now, to really get their heads around a complex process like this, scientists use diagrams. A really clear, well-labeled drawing can explain an entire system in just one look. See how everything is marked so precisely? This is an absolutely crucial skill for any scientist.
Okay, now let's zoom out. We're going from the world inside a single leaf to seeing how that same solar energy powers a whole community of living things. We are now entering the ecosystem.
You know, an ecosystem can be as huge as an ocean or as tiny as a backyard pond. But the main idea is always the same. Everything is connected. The living things and the non-living things, they all work together in this super intricate system where every single piece has a part to play.
And inside that system, you find these two really key relationships. First, you've got dependency. That's kind of like a one-way street. An animal depends on a plant for food, for example. But then you have interdependency, and that's more like a partnership. Bees need flowers for nectar, right? But the flowers also need the bees to help them pollinate. They rely on each other. It's a two-way street.
And this is exactly how that energy continues its journey. The sun's energy, which was stored in the grass, gets transferred to what we call a primary consumer, say a rabbit that eats the grass. Then, when a secondary consumer, like a fox, eats the rabbit, that energy moves up the chain again. A food web is really just a map that tracks this flow of energy from one living thing to the next.
So we've followed the energy from the sun to a plant, and from a plant to an animal. Now it's time for the last and maybe the most personal step in this whole journey: how all that energy gets to you. Seriously, just think about that for a second. The energy you're using right now just to listen and to learn, it started its journey millions of miles away, deep in the heart of the sun. So how does it make that final leap into your own cells? Well, the answer is pretty simple, actually. It's all about a balanced diet. It's not just about filling your stomach. It's about eating the right mix of foods, so your body gets all the different kinds of energy and nutrients it needs, the very same ones that started their journey so long ago. See, your body needs a bunch of different things. For that quick burst of energy, you need carbohydrates. Yep, that's the starch from plants we talked about. To keep all your internal systems running smoothly, you need vitamins and minerals. For growing and repairing yourself, you need protein. And for storing energy and staying warm, you need fats.
A balanced diet makes sure you get the whole package.
And what does all this good food support? Well, one of the most important things is your immune system. And the best way to picture it is as your body's own personal army. And a well-fed army, fueled by a great diet, is going to be strong and ready to defend you from any germs that try to invade.
Okay, for our last section, we're going to switch gears a little. We've just been on this amazing journey, and now we're going to see how a real scientist would record it all down like a professional.
All right, you'll want to pay close attention here because this is super important. These are the rules for scientific drawing. First, always use a sharp pencil. Second, every single drawing must have an underlined heading. Third, you'll draw one vertical guideline on the right side. Fourth, use a ruler to draw your label lines. They have to be straight, horizontal, and they can never, ever cross. Fifth, write your labels neatly in print right up against that guideline. And last but not least, Rule 6, no coloring, no shading, just clean, clear lines.
So why all the strict rules? It's because scientific drawing isn't about being an artist. It's about communication. The #1 goal is perfect clarity so that any scientist anywhere in the world can look at your drawing and know exactly what they're seeing. It's like a universal language.
Wow. So we followed energy all the way from a distant star, into a leaf, through a complex food web, and right onto your plate. We've seen just how deeply connected everything in our world is. So, I'll leave you with this question. Now that you know how to look for these connections, what other hidden journeys and secret stories can you discover in the world all around you?